How many of your current friendships genuinely reflect the person that you are right now? Not the person you were in high school, not the person you were in college, the person that you're becoming. Friendships are supposed to grow with us. They are designed for us to support each other through all the different stages of life, not to hold us hostage to the woman that we used to be. If you learn anything from this video, if you click out of this video, if you don't stay to the end, the one lesson I want you to learn is that the company you keep decides who you are. You are who you surround yourself with. Don't make the decisions lightly when it comes to who you keep in your most intimate circle, the people who are closest to you. And the people who are closest to you are who you decide are the closest to you. Those are the relationships we're going to navigate through today. Hello, everyone. My name is Angel, and welcome to my little corner of the internet. Today, we are going to talk about something that I've been navigating myself. And sometimes it's easier for me to talk through things with you guys because you're my friends. You're my friends who don't judge me because you don't talk back. And sometimes those are the best friends who listen and don't judge. That's why I love you guys. If it wasn't obvious, today we are going to talk about navigating adult friendships, adult relationships, more like platonic relationships, not intimate relationships. That's another video. And I think nobody really prepares us for this section of adulthood. I think we all expect our breakups to hurt, but I don't think we recognize how deep friendship separations can cut. I don't think how much we realize how much we rely on our friends until they're gone. And we want to make sure that we stand on business and we make the right decisions for our future self. The first thing I want to talk about today is the importance of friendship. We spend so much of our adult lives trying to find the right partner, not settling into relationships that we know won't last long term. But when it comes to friendship, the weight isn't always as heavy. Think about it this way. Who do you call when you had a good day? Who has the biggest influence on your decisions, your routines, your confidence, your friends? Those aren't just small moments that we're navigating through. Those are building blocks that are setting up the foundation of our lives. When you surround yourself with people who are loving and encouraging and supportive, they lift you higher. Not only are they there to consistently remind you of your worth and your value, they will continuously encourage you and push you towards achieving your higher self. When you look at the 5 people that you talk to the most, do they reflect the person that you are today? Or more importantly, do they accept and encourage you to grow into the person that you are becoming? When you look into that mirror of friendship looking back at you, does it reflect who you are? Does it reflect the kind of friend you want to be? Because I have a lot of friends that I keep close to myself who consistently push me to be a better version of myself. There are qualities and traits in my friends that I wish I had in myself. And I'm not envious, I'm not jealous. I am encouraged and I am motivated to be more like them. The same way I wish that I inspire and motivate them to be more like me. And the more that I talk to my friends and the deeper our relationships become, the more I learn about myself. As we grow up, as we get closer, as we get deeper, it is so rewarding to see authenticity both ways. When I look at them, I see it reflected back at me and it fills my cup. The second that I see myself either talking bad about my friend, talking down on a friend, talking about my friend with other friends negatively, is when I start to see that green. You know what I mean? And it's not even that I'm necessarily envious as I am confused. And I think that leads us to the importance of reflection before reaction. And I'll be the first person to be honest with you guys. 5 years ago, you wouldn't get the time of day out of me to listen to understand instead of listen to react. I have grown so much in my early 20s that it's honestly funny and embarrassing, the woman that I used to be. If I could encourage you to just take a little bit more time to not be so reactive when navigating these changes, I promise you, it kind of stretches out that like uncomfortable feeling like in our heart and our stomach. But long term, it helps you to move on the same way it does in a breakup. I'm very much a go with my spleen person, as Patrick would say. I just react. I just go off gut feelings. And the older we get, the more rational we get, the less emotional we get. We need to realize and take accountability to the fact that we cannot throw temper tantrums like we did in high school. We can't just cut people off and walk away like we did when we were younger. Now we can, but I'll be the first to admit to you, when I crash out on somebody, in the moment it feels good, but then I start to think back and I'm like, I really wish I didn't handle it that way. Because one, I wish I didn't handle myself in that capacity. I don't want my future self to be tarnished based off a negative reaction that I've had. So what I started to do was just sit with the uncomfortable feelings. 5-year, 10-year, 20-year friends even are way too important to lose over a crash out. I'm sorry. And that's coming from me, the crash out queen, crash out CEO. If I'm telling you not to crash out, that's how you know you've gone too far. When you value someone, or I should say, you should value someone enough to clear the air, enough to give space for both people to get things off their chest. In this world, there's always two sides of the story, right? Or maybe there's three sides. My side of the story, your side of the story, and what we do moving forward. How we handle these uncomfortable situations. I think the hardest pill for me to swallow right now, there's two. Not every friendship needs to end just because you see things differently, right? You don't have to cut people off completely just because you don't agree on X and Y and Z. Now, y'all already know how I feel. So when I say you don't have to cut people off because you see things differently, I'm not talking about basic human rights, because there will never be an opportunity where you can say I said that. But you see how I get so far off track and I gotta reel myself back in? Because I'm a crash out. The biggest life lesson I can give you here is that reflection gives us clarity, reaction gives us regret. The longer you take to reflect and really think on a decision, the more confident you will be in the outcome. Just because you have a difference with your friend doesn't mean it needs to be the end all be all, but you need to allow yourself and your friend the opportunity to have respectful, open, and honest communication. It can't just be your way or the highway. That is not how friendships work. That is not how good friendships work. Respectful friendships work. And if I've learned anything in my teens and 20s, the quicker you are to light the bridge, the faster it burns. I am very guilty of burning bridges that I look back on and I'm like, who did I think I was to act that way? And how did I make the people who are my friends, who are close to me, feel when I cut them off, blocked them, deleted them on Instagram, and acted as if nothing ever happened? The most important thing I need you to figure out when it comes to reflection and looking back on these friendships is why the friendship isn't working. In today's climate, there are so many reasons and opportunities for people to not get along. Everything is black and white, red and blue, left and right. There's almost no middle ground anymore. I was raised to see things both ways, but it gets harder every single day. I'll be honest, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm better than anybody else. It is hard for me to see things from a different perspective. That's where that reflection piece comes in. Why is it hard for me? It has nothing to do with our friends. When we are navigating difficult relationships, when we're reflecting on things that no longer serve us, why do they no longer serve us? Why are they making us uncomfortable? We have to be responsible as well. We can't just blame everything on someone else. 4 things I want you to ask yourself. Take your time to think about it and be honest with yourself with these answers. And I know they're going to hurt. It honestly really hurts to reflect and get deep with yourself about stuff that you really don't want to talk about, especially when you're used to running instead of facing things head on. If you're non-confrontational, this is really going to suck for you. I'm sorry. But is it the values that that person holds that don't align with you? Because to me, that's deal breaker number 1. If you have different moral values, is it distance? I think proximity equals closeness. So I live in Colorado. All my friends live in Florida. But every single time I'm in Florida, my friends will drive to see me. They will make time in their very busy schedules to show me that I'm a priority. And I get it. You know, I'm the one who chose to move away. You shouldn't have to break your schedule to see me, but they do because it's a priority to them. Having friends like that, especially for me, fills my cup because I feel like I'm the kind of friend who sometimes always is giving and giving and giving to everyone and no one kind of gives in to me. So as I've gotten older, the friends that I have really been showing the fuck up for me. And it makes me feel really good. Like I could cry almost, it makes me feel that good. And there's a lot of things that factor into distance, right? Transitionary periods of life. If I have a friend with a brand new baby, I'm not expecting her to come to me. I'm going to go to her. The effort and the time I'm putting into, the finances I'm putting into to close that distance are mutually reciprocated. It's not just me going above and beyond for friend X and friend X never doing anything for me, because I don't believe in one-sided relationships. With that, that's kind of the third thing, lack of effort. And we're all going through different things in our 20s. We all have different priorities in our 20s. But if my friendship to you is not a priority, why? Those are conversations you should be able to have. I have sent texts to people who I was really close with, and I was like, hey, like, I've really not heard from you. I feel like we used to talk all the time. What's going on? Like, did I do something? Are we just drifting apart? And I think that hits things on the head. I'm also someone who's really insecure when it comes to like, if people like me. I know it's really like, it doesn't really align with the YouTube personality that I have, but I'm someone, even when I ask people to be my bridesmaids, I was like, hey, like, I don't really know if you like me as much as I like you, but if you do like me, I'd like for you to do this. So I get it. And the most important thing is, are you just growing in different directions? Do you have different priorities? And they might never align. And that doesn't mean you have to cut them off completely, but it at least lets you understand why that friendship isn't working. Not every difference that we have is a deal breaker. We were not put on this earth to agree with every single person on every single thing. So let's talk how to navigate differences. First thing you're going to do is you're going to check in with your values. If you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. This is a conversation I had with my ex-boyfriend time and time again. People who stand for nothing, people who have no backbone, no core values, have you seen inside out? They will crumble. When you are reflecting and trying to identify what your differences are they surface level differences? I can love someone who doesn't love my favorite shows. My best friend, Corey, thinks that Gilmore Girls is boring, but we don't clash on things like respect, human decency. We even have differences in religion. She is allowed to believe and practice what she wants to believe, and she respects what I believe and choose to practice, and it's cool. That is a prime example of differences that don't make or break a friendship. Next thing is communicate openly. I think the most powerful thing that you can say to someone is, I see things differently from you, but I respect you. I think we have lost that core value of respect in our society, especially our generation. I see you, I hear you, I still value you, can still be said when you have major disagreements with someone. And that is something that I used recently because typically when someone disagrees with me, I don't even care what the difference is. The second that somebody does me wrong, there's really no recovering from that. Although I'm getting older and I'm trying to allow myself the opportunity to reflect and to communicate and to be a bigger person, the second you rub me the wrong way, what I'm trying to do with that is instead of cutting people off from the jump, I'm just taking a step back and I'm setting boundaries. Not every friend needs access to every single part of who you are. We have different beliefs in human rights. So I'm going to just take a step back and I'm going to work on my relationships with people who see the world the same way as I do. And once you realize that you're a sociopath, then we can maybe be friends again. I try so hard to like be fucking for real when I film. And sometimes like I can't even keep a straight face with the shit that I'm saying because I disagree. But it's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It's about growing the fuck up and doing things the way that adults should do them. I think a great way to look at this, and this is something that my best friend told me to do, and I am struggling so hard to do it, but she's awesome. And so I will give her the advice that maybe I won't take, but maybe can work for you. Is think of it as a theater. Some people get front row seats. Some people are in the balcony. Some people are in the mezz. Some people are in the orchestra. Everyone has a different seat, but everyone sees the same show. We don't have to give everyone the same access, the same proximity to us to still keep them around. It is okay to decide where people stand in your life. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to decide if you want tier 1, 2, and 3 friends. When I was doing my wedding list, a lot of the advice I got was to make a A list and a B list. Why the hell would I ever make a B list to my life? I value myself and my peace and my energy so much that if you don't make the first cut, there is no second cut. And the biggest thing here is to let people speak for themselves. Just watch them. When you set a boundary with someone, how do they react? Someone can set a boundary with you that you do not agree with, and you can still respect them and their choice. I have a friend who sees political differences than I do, and I told her that with the climate we're in, there were some differences that I wanted to discuss with her head on, and she told me she didn't want to. So I said, okay, cool, end of conversation. People should be allowed to set boundaries. You are allowed to set boundaries with people and see if they respect you. Are they trying to belittle you or your boundary or your feelings, your values? Are they willing to understand your perspective or are they trying to make you feel small? That's a big one. I'm the kind of person when I argue to belittle and make that person feel small. And that is not a reflection of who I am today. That is a reflection of the woman I used to be, and I'm no longer her. And I recognize that. But it's hard to change overnight. especially in situations that don't happen all the time. We don't break up with our friends every single day of the week. This is a rare situation that we're navigating through. I think the most important thing I'm trying to get across here is that you can love someone and remove their access. You can honor the history without destroying it. You can honor the love and the friendship you've had with someone in the past without destroying it moving forward. And I think the hardest part about this conversation is, how do I know if I'm making the right decision? Angel, I still feel sick to my stomach when I think about this. I don't know how to react. I don't know how to move forward. And that's normal. This is something that I really struggle with. This is the gray area that I'm navigating in right now, because life isn't black or white. It isn't yes or no. There has to be a gray area. As I'm getting closer and closer to my wedding, and I sent out my wedding invitations, and I'm doing all this wedding planning, I've had to ask myself, who are the people in my life that I need at my wedding? Who are the people in my life that I'm taking into this next chapter of my life? Who are the people who no longer align with who I am and the person I'm becoming? Those are conversations that you need to sit on. Sometimes answers hurt. Sometimes the truth hurts, but it doesn't mean that the love wasn't real. It doesn't mean that the memories that you have with that person are no longer meaningful or valid. Things just change. Losing a friend, losing someone you're close to, is not a failure. Every person, every relationship has a season in your life that it was put here to serve. Some friendships grow and evolve through time, but some don't, and that's totally okay. I will never be able to answer whether you're making the right choice, whether you're making the wrong choice. If you want to FaceTime and we can talk about your situation one-on-one, I am here for you because you're my friend. At the end of the day, you deserve an inner circle that you can rely on in every single stage in your life. You deserve people who stand by you and your values and do not minimize you and make you feel smaller. As a friend, I can tell you that if I don't align with your values and I can't support your perspective, I'm not a good friend to have around. I encourage you to protect your peace because it's not selfish. It's empowering and it's essential to the woman that you're becoming. I love you so much. I mean it. If you need me, I'm here for you, and we will figure out this life together. Bye, guys. Also, psst, if you have any really good tea that you want to share in the description or DM me, because I'm still nosy as